Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 8, and this is going to be my trailer breakdown for Episode 4 for this season, otherwise entitled Armageddon Part 4. Obviously, the fourth part of this Armageddon event, the second last part, but of course, before we get into anything, let's watch this trailer.
Thawne, what did you do?
I finally did what I set out to do all those years ago.
It's been you this whole time.
Oh, it gets so much better.
Ah, here we go.
I've won! I finally won! Who's faster now?
Flash Armageddon. 5-episode event continues next Tuesday at 8/7 Central, only on the CW.
So last episode was a very setting everything up episode. I thought it might have been a bit different, and I wasn't worried about like halfway through, but I just felt like, okay, is there just going to be like a bit of a cliffhanger? But everything sort of does push forward fairly heavily, and they start leading into what that cliffhanger will be about just after like halfway through the episode roughly, or something like that. But of course, the end of the episode, they figure out that someone's, well, like just before that, Dion Owens and Iris figure out someone's messing with the timeline using the negative still force, and Barry's going to have to travel to the future to figure out what's going on there. But I think most of us, if not all of us, when we heard negative still force and negative of a force, just negative in general, anything to do with a force, thought it was probably going to be something to do with Eobard Thawne, if not directly Eobard Thawne. We get to the future, we go to that party, the West Party, and yeah, it's like a marriage shower pretty much for Eobard Thawne marrying Iris, Mr. Steal Yo Girl, smirking at Barry saying, I gotcha and I beat you in the most painful way. Look at this. And this trailer we're going to be that we're going to talk about is going to continue on that theme of just, I guess, Eobard soaking it all in. But of course, before we get into the actual breakdown of the trailer, we will quickly read out the synopsis or description for the episode, as it does give us a bit more context as to what's going on. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts, opinions, theories, predictions, everything like that. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like on it to show your support and excitement for what's coming. Barry is shocked when Eobard Thawne returns in the most unexpected way and with a tie to a loved one. Damien Darhk offers advice to Barry, but there is a catch. An epic battle begins with Reverse Flash pitted against the Flash, Team Flash, Batwoman, Sentinel, and Ryan Choi. So yeah, when that synopsis first came out and we saw it tied to a loved one, we're like, oh, they talked about Caitlin or something like that. But well, it's Iris, literally, not just subtly like or loosely tied, literally tied via marriage. Yeah, they weren't joking around there. Now, I am very curious to see what else happens in this episode, because they don't spoil stuff in the synopsises usually, especially when it comes to bigger things like this. So they've given us, most of what you'd expect in the episode, even just based off the end of last episode, and also just what's in the trailer, I guess. So I'm very curious to see what else is in this episode that surprises us. And there are a couple of things which we'll talk about that aren't in the trailer or weren't at the end of last episode, which I wonder if they'll play into the episode at all. So yeah. But then, that's what we do here. Let's break it down. So we start off with Barry talking openly to Thawne at that party that from the end of last episode, and everyone's around. He's just like sort of going at Thawne. And I wonder whether Thawne will just play it off as Barry being crazy. It's very, and we'll talk about this, later in the video, but I'm curious what Team Flash and the others, when they look at Barry, is it Barry? Like, are they looking at the Barry that they knew in the past, or what else has happened in this timeline? Has the timeline changed even more? I think there's going to be some decently big reveals, because I don't know how they could all be against him in that manner, but they also aren't scared of him necessarily, which is also a big thing. I'm very curious to see how it all plays out. But obviously a fight's going to break out, or at least the threat of a fight, because we have Ryan Choi about to activate the Atom suit. He has like a little wrist thing. I'm assuming it's going to be like nanotech, very similar to maybe like Barry's helmet or something along those lines. But we know that he becomes the Atom, and we're wondering how that's going to be. Well, obviously it's in these future things. Now, I am wondering whether in the present day there's any sort of lead up to that, or any references once we, get out of this future, if you want to call it. Or if it's just something that's like, no, in 2031, he's the Atom, and maybe it's, for the present day story in the next year or two, next season or two, to, introduce that and set that up. I guess that's for us to wait and find out, but it is cool that we're going to see him in the Atom suit and we get that little tease right there in the trailer with the little wrist thing. Now, one thing I must point out, I wonder if anyone else saw this, did the Star Labs roof get repaired? Like, I know it's only a quick shot here, but I don't see any form of destruction. It looks like, if anything, it not only got repaired, but they did a bit of a renovation on it as well. It looks pretty good. Did they do that? That would be the biggest meme ever, because that's like one of the things that people talk about. It's like, really? They still haven't got that repaired? Well, if Eobard's in charge, I mean, it gets repaired straight away. So, I don't know, did anyone else notice that it looked like it got repaired? Now, this is the big thing that some of you might have been wondering when you saw it, you saw the party thing last episode or even this trailer. There's no Caitlin at that party. There's no Caitlin. Is she dead? Like, where is she? Is she dead at this point in 2031? Has she left Central City? Is she associated with future Barry? Is she a villain again as Killer Frost? Is she with Chillblaine? We know Chillblaine's in this event in these last 2 episodes. I'm not too sure specifically which one. Is she associated in that way? Because we know she's still in this event. I'm pretty sure Killer Frost shows up. But where is she? She's not there. So she's not associated with Team Flash in any way, shape, or form. And, when I was talking about the loved one thing, how it's actually Iris, and I brought up Caitlin, it's because in an interview, Eric Wallace said that there's a really, threatening or powerful scene between Tom Cavanaugh and Daniel Panabaker, who play Eobard Thawne and Caitlin or Killer Frost. So is that scene in this episode? I can't wait to see what happens there and why she's not there. Because I didn't notice it straight away, but then when they panned to everyone, when it's like, what are you doing here? And everyone sort of looked at Barry with like an angry and not very tasteful face. I noticed that Caitlin wasn't there. So really curious to see how that plays into this episode. But another guest actor in this episode, outside of Eobard Thawne showing up, or even just a guest villain, is that of Damien Darhk. Now, he looks very Arrow Season 4. When I look at him here, he looks very like his Arrow appearance. So I'm very curious to see how they play him into this, because he's dead. If you didn't know, he sort of killed himself or sacrificed himself on Legends the last time he was alive. So he's, in the normal timeline, if we just picked up straight up to Season 7, normally he would be dead. So how he plays into this is going to be very interesting as well, because there is also a scene with Ryan Choi and Chester in Star Labs, and they sort of go up against the wall and they're holding their throats, and that's what Damien can telekinesis sort of choke you. So I think that's what Damien's doing here. So I don't know if that's Damien working with Barry or maybe Damien working with Eobard, because I wonder in this episode, because the synopsis says that Damien offers advice to Barry, but there's a catch, whether Damien's able to do some sort of magic to help Barry out, and that's maybe the catch that the synopsis is talking about. But also, maybe Damien originally helped Eobard to do what's happening in this timeline, with some magic, with some body swapping potentially, or something along those lines, or making people forget things as well. Maybe that's something that Damien did, because they did say in the initial press release for this Armageddon event that Eobard and Damien would have an alliance in this event. So is the alliance going to be shown in this episode? Is it going to be a bit of a twist? What's going on there? And even in more twists, which it just feels like it's just twisty, do the twist. In this little scene here, you can't really see it right down in this trailer, but I have a screenshot from the another trailer, the where they show the credits and everything. But is Eobard wearing the Flash suit in this trailer right here? That looks like the top of the red Flash suit. So if Eobard is the Flash potentially based off that, is Barry the Reverse Flash? And the Reverse Flash in the synopsis is actually Barry versing Eobard as the Flash. So Eobard is the Flash, Barry's the Reverse Flash, and so Barry's versing Eobard, the rest of Team Flash, Batwoman, Sentinel, and the Atom. Is that potentially what's happening there? Or is it even something crazier where you're seeing a future Barry who's the Reverse Flash as well? It could go multiple avenues, and it's sort of making my brain hurt trying to figure out which way it could go. But I think there's going to be even just a twist around that whole fight between Reverse Flash and the Flash potentially. And I'm very curious to see how it plays out. But also, when I brought up Damien Darhk potentially using his magic to body swap or make people forget, is there the potential that Barry is actually Thawne in this timeline or in the future, and Eobard is Barry? if you know what I mean. So people are seeing Thawne or Eobard Thawne as Barry. So like just imagine that people are seeing Tom Cavanagh as Grant Gustin, and they're seeing Grant Gustin as Tom Cavanagh. But we are seeing it the other way around, so we know as the audience who is really who. It's like in Elseworlds. Think of Elseworlds, how you had Stephen Amell as the Flash, and everyone thought he was Barry, but he still looked like Stephen Amell, who we knew as Oliver Queen. So think of it as like Elseworlds. And it's very important to remember that Eric Wallace said that he got the idea for this during Crisis on Earth X, but he said that other crossovers will influence this Armageddon event. And if you're going to take something from Elseworlds, it would be the body swapping between Barry and Oliver. So is that potentially what they've taken from Elseworlds and done it with Eobard and Barry this time around? Food for thought, because that could potentially be what they're doing here. And if you think about it with that, that was sort of magic as well with the Book of Destiny. So maybe that's what potentially could be happening here. But that's for us to wait and find out, of course. But like pretty much every week so far, there's no promo images when I'm making this video. They seem to be doing them or releasing them like literally when the trailer goes out. So they're probably out right now as you're watching this video, but I'll probably do a video including them at least over the weekend sometime if they're worth talking about. And based off the previous couple of episodes beforehand, they're worth talking about. So I'll wait and see what happens when they come out. But of course, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on all of this. I'm very curious to hear what you guys are thinking and what you think might happen as well and what your theories are. Or just your comment on what my theories are. Or your opinions on what my theories are, if that makes sense. But yeah, and also if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.